Proverbs 12:23, the hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall see under tribute. That means if you're lazy, you're gonna be forced labor one of these days. God doesn't reward laziness at all. Next we're gonna go to Colossians 3:20. Knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. And whatsoever ye do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. We work to glorify God. We do work to make a living, but everything we do is to glorify God. Going to school, going to work, whatever. And then we're going to go to Ecclesiastes 9:10. Whatsoever thy hand find to do it with all thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whether thou goest. I mean, we can't take it with us. We gotta work hard until we go. And we work hard to glorify God and to meet our family's needs and to meet our fleshly needs. Not our fleshly wants, but our needs. And God will always supply that, as long as we're working in His will. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start right here on my right, and I'm gonna ask this fellow in the Nike shirt to introduce himself and tell us about college.
I'm a group engineer. I'm a freshman at North Greenville. I study communications with a concentration in media ministry. What else? I live on campus.
Current job.
I'm the media director here, and I work on the media team at North Greenville as well.
I'm Patrick Rivers, and I'm an engineer in Eastville.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Clemson.
I'm Jasmine Rivers, and I just graduated this past December from Anderson University with my Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology.
What's your,
So, I have to go to grad school to get my master's degree in occupational therapy. I go to Maine.
Stephen Brennan, just recently got out of the military, well, I guess it's not recent, now it's going to year. I'm currently a supervisor at Ortec.
My name is Will Trotter. I work for a construction company, a pretty medium-sized company to subdivisions. So I operate heavy equipment.
The back row is having a hard time hearing everybody, so you two share this come back and forth.
I don't think I need to
You got it under yourself. Okay. Share that one. And Cooper, you can have this one for yourself.
Alright. Now remember, y'all, as we go through, y'all. Oh, I'm sorry, Go ahead.
I'm Bailey Hammond. I'm a sophomore at Clemson University. I'm majoring in construction science management, and I'm minoring in business administration. And I don't have a job right now, but during the summers, I do internships with a commercial construction company in Greenville.
And Bailey, should you even be in high school yet? I mean, be in college yet?
No, I'm 17. I'm supposed to graduate high school this year.
Got questions about you. Alright. My first question is kind of along the line of preparation. What avenues, while you're in high school, did prepare you for college, prepare you for college and the workplace after high school? Okay.
Put me on the spot. I would say academic-wise, I definitely took advantage of everything in high school, like taking honors classes, taking dual enrollment, and that really helped prepare me for applying for scholarships for college, and also just getting to college and already having that like in the back of my mind of I've taken college level classes, so that kind of gives you a going to, if you're moving out or going to college or staying at home or whatever, your faith is gonna be tested for sure, and that just comes with change in general. I think one way that I prepared, to go, I lived on campus and then I lived off campus, out of my parents' house for 4 years, and, just surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and people that are there to uplift you and encourage you, even when you don't feel like falling close to the Lord, people that bring you back, and just having a firm foundation in God before you go on your next adventure is really key.
Alright. Got one for Pat. Tell him the youngest, what up? So, Patrick, when you were in high school, did college prep courses help? If a student struggles with a GPA, should they take a college prep course?
So, I went to Carolina High School, in Greenville, and my brother is 2 years older than me, and my brother is one of the smartest people that I know. And he, straight A's, full academic ride at USC. I mean, they took him, but I don't know what it says about USC, but. Yeah,
Says they take the smartest people.
Okay, yeah. And yet he pulls for Clemson. He's as big of a Clemson fan as I am. So just throw that out there. But, so he took a lot of AP classes and all that kind of stuff and all that. And I was an AB student. I took one AP class and struggled through it. And then when I went to Clemson, at high school, I was a big fish in a little pond. You ever heard that?
Yes.
And then when I went to Clemson, I was a little fish in a huge ocean. I had more people in my freshman chemistry class than I had in my graduating class at Carolina. So I was very much out of my element, out of all that, and I struggled my first semester. I made the lowest that I've ever made academically, but yet I still ended up graduating in 4 years, and I wasn't at the top of my class, but I buckled down and did what I was supposed to do, right? I don't think you have to do that. I think we instilled in our girls, you know, it kind of aligned with part of the scripture that you read. What you do is not for other people's accolades and all that kind of stuff. You should be doing, whether the camera's on you or not, you should be doing the same, right? You should be seeking God's blessing, not Facebook, not Instagram, not Snapchat, or whatever all that stuff is. I mean, fortunately, when I was going through, you know, they had just gotten rid of the stone tablets, and the auto engine had just been invented, and cell phones were starting to become a thing back then. But, yeah,
Where do you engineer at?
Land Planning Associates, we're a civil engineering firm. We design subdivisions and that kind of stuff. We do a lot of commercial buildings and stuff. We basically do parking lots and stormwater ponds and all that kind of stuff. We're pretty exciting stuff.
Jump around a little bit, I got a question for David. I know you graduated, so you're smart, so you probably already know I was gonna ask you. How much do your parents still help you with finance?
All of it. I mean, like, my internships and stuff, I get paid to do internships, and I didn't have a job all through high school. But it was a low paying job, it was just enough money for like gas and food. But right now, they're kind of like, I fully like 100% lean on them, because they know like if I work, I can give it back.
Same question for you.
So, it's kind of half and half. So I pay completely for my college. But my parents help pay for stuff like, if I need toilet paper or something, my bills. But really, what I've learned is that I like to buy my own things anyway, and because to me, that's more of a sign of, hey mom, look at me, I'm independent, you know, so I like that I'm able to get my own things, I have my own job, that kind of stuff, but my parents help me with that kind of stuff.
Will? What are some important factors that made you, that had you to choose the career path that you're on now?
Well, I went to Tri-County for maybe 2 months, and I hated every course. Only one course I was doing hands-on work that I actually liked. And I had picked up the job I'm in now, just kind of right out of high school, you know. I was like, oh, it's good money, I'll try it out. And I really just fell in love with it, really. I like that feeling, you know, just seeing that satisfying feeling of getting something done, you know.
So do you think you've landed in the career path that you want for your life, or that you pray for, do you think?
I definitely think, yes, working, operating heavy equipment for sure, I really like it, because I like working outside, but still like the AC and the heat on or whatever, you know. But there's tons of things you can do with heavy equipment, so it's really just about learning and, you know, what you like doing, if you like doing it.
And I've always heard that if you like what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But if you hate what you do, it's miserable.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely those days when it's real cold.
Steve, you're a military guy. So, what kind of calling did you feel in your life from God to go to the military route? Was a friend, free education, getting out on your own, getting out of the house, out of a parent's house? What was your motivation?
My motivation was, so I was working in Yokohama, and I got a better job opportunity that was gonna pay a whole lot more, and I quit my job, and then that job fell through. They found somebody else that was gonna take it, and I ended up not having a lot of work, but I was dating my wife at the time, and I knew I wanted to pop the question. So I started talking to Army recruiters. I was like, hey, I heard you guys give out bonuses for people that sign, and they hooked me up with a bonus so I could afford a ring, and then that was pretty much the reason I joined. So I could have it on my head.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to Jasmine, and this is really a question for everybody. Because no matter how young or old you are, we have these goals. Have you set financial goals?
Yes. My father is very big on financial goals, and just having that in mind, we actually had a conversation on the way here about how my finances were looking. So it's funny that you asked that. Yeah, so yes, I have them set. Obviously, so I have a few months off before I start school back in May. So now is my time to like hang out with friends, family, but also my goal is to make some money so I can afford life once I go back to school. Is there like a further question with that? Like,
I guess, do you wish to maybe get into your own business? Do you like have your own firm maybe, your own, would you like to be boss? Would you like to be in charge and be your business?
yes and no. So he owns his own business, and so I've seen both sides of that, the good and the bad. How fruitful it can be, but also how stressful it can be to be the boss sometimes. And what I want to do, I want to be a pediatric occupational therapist. So one day that could look like managing or owning my own clinic, and I think that would be a really
so my dad, you know, all he talks about is money ever since he started doing the money here. So I hear a lot about finances, and one of the things that they, as a couple, have started doing is setting a budget, and they've encouraged me to start doing that as well. So I have a monthly budget that I do for myself, and what really has helped me is starting that before I went to college, because I had money set aside in a savings account, and I was able to, you know, go through my first year completely debt-free without getting help. And that's amazing to me, and I'm so blessed, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I would have set those financial goals early. So even if it's just a small goal, I would suggest setting at least some kind of goal, and it will benefit you so much in the future. But for, like, from here looking to the future, I don't know, I'm just trying to stay as debt-free as possible.
Is your tithing a part of your budget?
Yes, it is.
But,
And-
yeah. Go ahead, next page. Financial goals.
I've kind of set financial goals, no like numbers or anything, but I call my parents about twice a week and ask them, when can I get a house? When can I afford a house? When can I move out? Like, when can I live on my own and afford it? And we have like conversations like that every week. How I'm gonna do that, how I'm gonna manage that, and then how I'm like gonna set like 10% or however much percent to Jesus, this much for myself, and then taxes, and then the rest for the house. So there's some of that there.
Will?
You say I have like a set dollar budget that I try to, you know, stay under, because I work hourly, so sometimes it rains and I don't get to work. But I do have, you know, bigger goals as far as, you know, buying some land and buying maybe some of my own equipment. But as far as running my own full-time grading business, I'm not too interested in that. Seeing how stressful it is, just.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you think's the best benefit out of having a boss instead of owning your own business?
Not having to deal with, just the boss's problems, really. Just, you know, he's worried about, we have, 7, 8 jobs going at one time. He's in charge of all that equipment, all of it.
So like you just get to get up, go to work,
Yeah,
come
you
home,
get to set
get your
routine.
paycheck, and you don't
Yeah,
have to worry about all the details.
for sure.
Patrick, what do you think is the benefit of being an entrepreneur and having your own business, owning a business?
You get to create the environment around you. I've worked in some places that I really respected. The boss had a good work ethic, knew what he was doing, all that, but it was rough. You're some places you're treated like a number, not like a person, and you get that in big places a lot, you know, and there's more flexibility with that, with being your own boss, but there was also a long time before there was any benefit financially. It was a long thing. I mean, we do a whole lot better today than we did 20 years ago. But yeah.
How many years did it take to get to the point where you were, at a comfortable spot with your company financially?
Comfortable spot. I mean, so finances is a lot like air. In this room, this is a pretty big room, it's got plenty of air, and yet your sanctuary is a lot bigger than this, and the air fills that room too. So if you don't have a budget, if you don't have financial goals to limit you, you know what I mean? You're gonna either never have enough, or you're gonna always have too much. You know what I'm saying? We never lack for anything. And I had my first kid. And then 9/11 happened, it was a huge downturn and everything, it's like the whole world hit pause. Then I had some partners and we broke up, and then right there is where, from a faith standpoint, is where I got serious, is where I spent more time on my knees, and God, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to work for somebody else and not worry about jobs and projects and all that kind of stuff, or am I supposed to be doing this? And 2 weeks later, somebody calls and, hey, I got a project up in Kinston, North Carolina, you wanna come do it? Yep, thank you, God, all right, there you go. And soon thereafter, Jasmine was born, so, yeah, sorry,
And I've got, we'll come back to you on a couple of things. We wanna-
hold me after class.
we wanna do it. But I'm interested to know that whenever you joined the Army, that's what you're in right now, Army? Okay. And you started getting paid bi-weekly, I think it is. How much of an adjustment was that from maybe the previous job you may have where you got paid every week, before you had the budget for 2 weeks, or 2.5 weeks, and not run out of money between paychecks?
It was pretty rough. It was a lot less money and more time in between. The biggest advantage I had was probably the location. My first duty station was Hawaii, so it was pretty nice. Plus, being married, you get basic housing allowance. So for whatever area that your spouse is living, you get the cost of living added to your paycheck. So that was probably the biggest help as far as finances go. I never really had anybody to teach me about finances. I kind of started learning it in the Army as I go. And it's really just been a God thing, because there's a lot of occasions where the math just wasn't working out. I wasn't going to be able to afford to do certain things, wasn't going to be able to afford to get married, wasn't going to be able to afford, the ring, wasn't going to be able to afford, a place to live. And then, even though the math wasn't working, at least, I never went to college, maybe y'all could make the math work, I don't know. But, it just never worked out, but God always provided a way.
Cooper, you still live at home, right?
Yeah, I live on campus.
You live on campus. So do you have rent there on campus? Or utilities?
Well, we pay the fee at the beginning of the semester of each month, or each semester.
Patrick, I wanted to come back to you, you really intrigued me with something you said. At what point, and I know you said, right about the things that are down, but at what point did you realize that you couldn't make it unless you did give it to God, unless you did get his guidance, and pray for his wisdom, and pray for his blessings on your business? Because whether you're employed or not, you can be employed by somebody, or you can be an employer, but you still will always answer to somebody. At what point did you say, okay, God, I can't do this without you? I guess that's what
So at that point, it looked like everything was done, right? And it was like, I was at a crossroads for sure. And, I think sometimes when you're at the end of your rope, you just need to tie a knot and swing, right? And I think that's where I was. And I was, I think God took that opportunity. I think any trials and tribulations that we go through in life, there's there's a benefit to that, right? You look at how Lot was tested, right? Lot didn't do anything wrong, and God let the devil ruin him, right? Killed part of his family, took all his money, everything all his livestock and all that stuff, and yet Lot still didn't do anything wrong. And I'm not as righteous as what Lot was, for sure. But I think at that point in my life, I was married for 6 or 7 years, something like that, 8 years. Still learning, I'm still learning today, but, I think God used that and said, all right, I can see it now. I've been in business for 25 years now, and I can look back now and I can see God's fingerprint and God's placement of people in my life and opportunities that were, and temptations that were there that fortunately I did not take and did not dabble in. But I think whether you're, going through college, going through the Army, if you're, at a job, you're gonna still have those exact same opportunities. I was talking to a guy today, his home life is an absolute wreck, and it affects everything else, and it goes back to God. Who's number one in your life? If you get that order wrong, and I've told people that work with me, it's God first, family second, work third. And I get it mixed up, and I ask everybody in my company to hold me accountable, because I'm human, and I am far from perfect. I still don't have it figured out. I've got a guidebook that's kind of like what you got there, called the Bible, that I try to adhere to, but I still get it wrong. And I've got to have people that speak truth to me, that hold me accountable, and call me out when I need to be called out.
There's a difference between holding somebody accountable and beating them down. Holding them accountable don't mean you beat them down. Don't mean you say, you come alongside them and hold them up. You pray with them. Pray for strength. Pray that God will guide them. You say, hey, you did wrong, but you don't beat them down for it. Because that shoots the belly of the foot really easy. This question will be for everybody, and we'll start with you, Bailey, and go down the line. And Patrick touched a little bit on it, but what are some of the temptations that you face now that were greater than when you were in high school?
Oh, there's like parties all the time. All my roommates, like, they all go to the bars and everything. And like, they just all wanna do the party life. They don't wanna like hang out with friends or like stay in or anything. That's definitely the biggest thing for sure. And also there's nobody there like telling you what to do, telling you what you need to do, like what you have to do or anything. So you just, like, you have to make sure, like, you have to keep yourself in line, like, make myself go to church every Sunday, make myself do this, make myself get up for school, and you just have to be your own teacher, your own parent.
Well, I'd say working in blue collar field, you definitely hear some things, and people, talk a certain way, say some certain jokes, and talk about what they're doing at the work, be Christian-like. And, it's just like anything else, you definitely want to fit in, but, you gotta remind yourself, right, it's handwork. And, find some guys at work that can hold you accountable, and, keep you in line, look out for you.
I would say since high school, the temptation is not necessarily went away as I've matured in Christ, but it changed form, so to it got a lot less obvious. And you really have to start getting into the Word in order to see kind of what the root of the sin is that somebody might be trying to tempt you with, you know. And when you're first exposed to sin, it can be something as obvious as drinking or something like that, but once time goes on, it starts to become more subtle things, little white lies, or, you know, just telling a little fib here, a little fib there, and those sins end up, I feel like, tripping people up more so, you know, telling yourself, oh, I read my Bible last night, or, oh, I'll just read the Bible tonight because I don't have enough time to actually study it tonight like I should be. And that I say would probably be how temptations kind of changed a little bit.
I would say definitely the temptation of like the nightlife is a huge thing when you're in college. Even that I went to Anderson University, a Christian university, and that temptation is still norms. But another temptation I would say would be to be like lazy, to not do your schoolwork, to not take care of yourself, that sort of thing, just because you don't have your parents there to remind you, hey, you need to go do your laundry, or you should eat like some fruit today or something, or study for your test that you have next week, or something like that. But finding the right group of people definitely helps if y'all have the same mindset. He always says you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And in college, that's probably not going to be your parents. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So just finding like-minded people to keep you on the right track and not tempted to slack off since there's nobody telling you there what to do because you are the adult.
You remember high school?
Today, high school was just invented when I started. We were the first class. Certainly, that average of the 5 is kind of one of my mantras, and you become the average of the 5 people. So if you've got 4 friends that do drugs and you don't, and you hang out with them all the time, you're going to be the 5th. If you're hanging out with 4 people that smoke dope, or that drink, or that cheat on their wife, or that do whatever, cheat on their taxes, cheat, lie, steal, whatever, you're going to be the 5th. It doesn't matter what that is. So if you don't like the situation you're in, you need to hang out with people whose situation you'd rather be in. And I think that's kind of, and that goes for finances, that goes for, you know, future careers. If you see something, that's how I ended up in engineering. Is the boss that I had when I was in middle school, man, that's pretty cool what he does. That's what I want to do. You know, it's kind of like heavy machinery. He was running a survey instrument, and that's what I thought I wanted to do. And that was the first step of that path, and then kind of went on from there. But the temptations, the devil is real. The devil is, and you know, the question is, does the devil believe in God? Yeah, he does. And the devil knows exactly what that temptation is, that can get you, that can trip you. He knows exactly what that, you know, if he's so crafty enough with Eve, did God really say that? Is that apple really going to kill you? Are you sure? The devil knows exactly what that little piece is, and he's going to get you to take that. Look, that wasn't that bad. And then you go into, you know, the whole snowball effect of wherever that goes. So, yeah, sorry.
Well, I'm very blessed to be surrounded with great people, and like you said, being in a Christian college, I mean, you know, there's still things that go on, like, there's this one bar that everybody goes to that I can go down, I'm like, okay, you know, but, so I've got great friends, I'm surrounded with great people, and one of the people who keeps me mostly accountable is my roommate. Like, if I don't get through my Bible, you know, till late at night, he's like, why ain't your Bible open yet? You know, like, he'll question it, and, you know, if I've been laying in bed all day watching TikTok, he's like, you don't have anything to do? And really, that's one of the greatest temptations that I've experienced, is just, you know,
Do what?
Complacency.
Yeah, well, that, you know, kind of just priorities in general, you know. I could skip class and watch TikTok all day, you know, but you have to be disciplined, in all your areas of life, and your faith being one of them. And, that's really my greatest temptation, but you just kind of have to learn to deal with it.
This really is for anyone, but like, I know like school can be like tiring, because it is for me right now, but like, how do you find the like motivation to like pick back up like a friend, like find out things like find the right motivation?
So school can be what?
Tiring.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
Um,
you hear me?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is my bad ear.
It's okay. So like, since school can be tiring, like how can you like find the right motivation to like open your own day, talk to your Thursday, pray? Like how do you like find the right motivation for that every single day?
And that's really just surrounding yourself with the right people. I mean, it's cliche, but that's really, really what's most important. Just get an accountability partner. I mean, and it really does help with it being somebody that you see every day, whether you want to or not. That came off really bad, but like, you know, if it's a friend that's from home and I'm here at college, you know, I don't have to answer their text if they're my accountability partner. You know what I mean? It's very difficult, but that's it for me. I don't know about y'all, but.
I'm gonna ask one last question, and then I got one last one. If y'all have, I mean, I know we're getting close on time, you okay to run over this minute? If y'all have any questions for any of them, don't hesitate, just raise your hand, and we'll get you one at a time. And y'all, where God has you now, and you have opportunities to witness to the lost or other folks, or your coworkers, whatever, and you take it up. Go ahead, we'll get that.
So you mean like, if God put folks in your path to witness. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, and I know you said job, but like at North Greenville, I mean, not everybody's a Christian just because it's a Christian college. I mean, there's people from all different kinds of life and walks of life, and you know, some, you know, their parents just sent them there because that's where they wanted them to go. So just be an example, be a light to them. You don't have to, you know, say like, hey, if you're not a Christian, you need to be like, you know, they do, but you don't need to pressure. You just need to love them, and, you know, not pressure them. Just show them the love of Christ. God will put somebody in your path wherever you go. You just have to ask for him to reveal it to you. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, 100%. I think, your actions speak a whole lot louder than your words. And after your actions, then use your words, right? And there's people that I come in contact with, and kind of with what I do, I'm not able to witness verbally, but they know exactly kind of what you were saying earlier struck a chord with me, in that they apologize for the jokes they're about to say because they know I'm not going to appreciate it. They apologize for the cuss words that they're about to say because they know I don't cuss. There used to be a day where I did, but they, you know what I mean, they don't know me as that. And so those kind of examples, I think, speak a whole lot more about your character and how you hold yourself and how you identify with Christ than anything else.
Mic drop. I agree with both of what they've already said. But like you said, even at a Christian college, like you're gonna always be surrounded by people who haven't had the opportunity or haven't been shared the love of Jesus Christ. And I'm in a community group at a local church, and one thing that they always remind us is it doesn't have to be this big conversation. It doesn't have to be like, okay, tell them the whole gospel right now at breakfast. Like, as long as you're planting those seeds and showing them the love of God, like they will remember those conversations and come
said that, because I was just sitting here thinking, how far in depth should I go with this question? And now we're gonna go a little deep dive. So, there's actually a huge ministry in the military. Probably the vast majority of people you know come from areas, you gotta think, we're right here in the Bible Belt. We get Jesus everywhere we turn. There's always a Christian somewhere, there's always a church somewhere. I guarantee you'll pass 3 churches on the way home. With the Army, it was the first time that I ever went to an area that it wasn't like that. You didn't have churches on every corner. Most people were just completely, they never give God a thought. I remember one time on my unit, I was sitting around talking to some guys about God because they heard the Southern drawl. I guess it comes through occasionally. And they wanted to know what the South was like. Are we all a bunch of Bible thumpers? So I was in the middle of talking to this guy about God, and one of my sergeants walks past, and he goes, "Brennan, you can't be talking about that. That's you can't be doing that." I'm like, "But it's not. These are some of the rights that we're fighting for. Why can't I talk about it?" He's like, "You lost those rights when you signed the contract. Quit talking about that kind of stuff." And I kid you not, a week later, we had an entire formation to hear about Ramadan and why a lot of the Muslim soldiers wouldn't be at work or would get light duty because their religious practices are going on. So I would say it's hard in the sense that once you go outside of the Bible Belt, Jesus starts to kind of be in the furthest most parts of people's mind, but also there's still plenty of other things going on that are actively trying to stop Jesus from being a part of the conversation. And it gets pretty rough in some parts of the area. I know when I was deployed, I had a female staff sergeant that was over me and a female lieutenant. Some of the places that we would go, they would have their rank compared to mine was like, I'm down here, they're way up here. And some of the men that we run into, they weren't allowed to speak to, or we could all end up being killed for it. So it was really weird to be in a place where they're having to speak to me, so I can speak to this guy, so he can speak to me, so I can speak to them. It's a really crazy world once you get outside of our cozy little corner of things.
I just kind of go along with that. When we were in Utah, we were in Moab for a couple of days, and there was one Baptist church in the whole city of Moab, which is a pretty big city out there. And it was really hard to find a church, especially on the days we were traveling, because there are no churches really out west. It was a family that had moved there as missionaries to start the church. But once you get outside of, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia area, there's really not a lot of churches out west. And that's one of the things we ran into was there was 1 or 2 Baptist churches within miles of the town. And a lot of those people are Catholic or Judaism or, there's a lot of weird, strange religions out there, especially out west. And it was just kind of crazy. You'd never known a world like that. Like he said, every street corner in South Carolina there's another church. And it was just so hard to find a church out west, at least on the Baptist. And it kind of just blew our mind of how much the religion can change throughout the United States. And it was kind of sad because those people were, kind of following a false God. They were following a false God, and they weren't really saved because there were no churches out there that really taught the truth.
All four of y'all, the nail right on the head, really, but, I just asking y'all for courage to, witness, because you meet a lot of interesting men, even women too, that drive trucks or whatever. It don't matter. Dump trucks.
Christian college or anything, it's just Clemson, so there's like all kinds of people there. And I feel like my like roommate group is kind of all over the place. So we have like one girl doesn't really have a religion, like nothing special that she does. And then we have another girl who's Christian, but she never opens her Bible or goes to church or anything. And then there's another girl who is Christian. She goes to church every Sunday. She opens her Bible all the time. And with that mix, it's pretty hard to know what people need to like get that little kickstart of like courage or faith or whatever. So like at Clemson, they have a lot of clubs. So I joined one of the Christian clubs, and they have like these freshman girl Bible studies. So with my roommate who just isn't really like religious at all, I'm like, hey, they're having food here if you want to come with me, and just try to get her to go, and just try to give her that little kickstart, being like, oh, like these people are nice, they care about me and stuff like that. And then it's kind of hard with the people who like are Christian but don't really go to church or do anything, because they're like, oh, I don't have to do that because I'm faithful. But I don't know, it's just hard to like give them that kickstart. So I try to just be nice and just be like an image of God. And I try to show them like you don't have to be the picture perfect Christian. You just need to believe, and He'll love you and forgive you.
Anybody got any questions? 3, 4. As I asked Patrick this last question, y'all come on, we'll get this wrapped up. And, yeah, time to go that way. I think every one of y'all are sitting up here saying that's not easy. Hard. It's very hard, especially don't ever do it anyway. But Patrick, the last question I have is for you, not just because you're a senior in the first man or anything, but what advice you have for these young folks, middle schoolers, high schoolers, maybe just are getting ready to graduate? What, from your experience, what's the best advice you can give them that maybe you gave one of your daughters or somebody close to you? What's the best advice for a career path that you can suggest to?
Pray about it first. Yeah, pray about it first. Like what Cooper said, find an accountability partner. Find somebody that will speak truth to you, that loves you for you, doesn't love you for the car you drive, for the TV you have, for the home you have, that loves you for you, and that will speak truth to you. And you don't have to be successful in life. You don't have to have a big paycheck. You don't have to own your own business. You don't have to go to college. God didn't put college as one of the requirements to get to heaven. There's lots of successful people. If you go by the world, what the world calls successful, it means you have a lot of money in the bank. There's a guy I know, he's in his 70s, he got more money than all of us put together. And he's one of the most unhappiest people that I've ever met. And so I don't know that you need to put your focus on that to be successful, but I think you need to be successful in alignment with God's values and seek to find your identity through Christ. Yes, ma'am.
So like, one of my big fears right now is like the future. I know I'm having trouble like not even like trusting in like God knows my future, but like I don't know why. I mean I have 4 years left basically. College and stuff, and it's just like stressing me out. Like I don't know like gonna do my
Yeah, you need to do it being a kid. I mean, honestly, you don't. It's easy for me to say because I'm not your parent, but you don't need to put that kind of pressure on yourself and worry about it. You need to figure out, yeah, what avenues you like, what you enjoy, and go on that way. There's plenty of people that I know that have graduated college in one degree, and yet what they do now is something completely different. You know what I mean? So I think it's great that you're thinking that way, but God's gonna reveal it to you in due time. Yes, ma'am.
It's like if you're moving into college, how scary, like, it's probably a silly question, but how scary is it moving from your house to a college dorm? Like, how do you make, like,
Are you asking Bailey?
anyone,
Any of them?
any of them,
Did y'all hear, she was asking what was the fear in y'all when you moved from your parents' home into college? Like, what was your?
Honestly, for me, it wasn't that scary because of my mindset. I was like, okay, I get into college and I graduate as soon as I can. I'm not gonna worry about anything else. That was kind of my mindset. I've kind of always been more independent, so that was good for me. I was never really scared, but I guess if you were scared to like get over the fear, you could just make it fun for yourself. Surround yourself with people you like, and I feel like that should make everything like a lot easier, and just trusting God in the process.
I would add to that, find a place that feels like home away from home. Find a place where you're a name and not just another number. And then you can start building those relationships. And if you are like moving to college away from home, find a church community to be plugged in at, to where you walk in the door and they're like, hey, how are you? Like, how was your week? How was this test? That sort of thing. That definitely makes the transition a whole lot easier.
You definitely find your community.
I got a question for Bailey. So I'm a junior and I could graduate into this semester if I wanted to, but I'm gonna play baseball and trying to offer my senior year. Do you think it would be smart to just have a bridge year my senior year, or go for dual enrollment?
So like, wait, repeat the last part.
Should I just have a bridge year or dual enrollment my senior year?
I don't know. I never had sports in the question. I just worked. Did anyone have sports?
I did. I would say try your best, and if that means dual enrollment, then that means dual enrollment, but also know like what your capabilities are, what you can handle in current baseball season and all of that. And yeah, I'm sure you can make it.
I think Jacob could probably
Yeah.
help with that also, because he.
Yeah. But if you do graduate early, I don't think you'll regret it. It's never been a decision that I regretted. There's nothing about it that I could look back on and be like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that or anything.
I would just, what I kind of did with my senior year of high school is I kind of used it at, there's still classes I needed, obviously, but outside of that, I kind of used it as an opportunity to take a couple classes that I maybe just wanted to take, you know? In terms of like dual enrollment, AP classes, personally for me, there wasn't a big enough benefit to, I guess you'd say, risk ratio to justify taking those kind of classes. But I mean, Jesse, I completely agree with what she said. You know, do your best, and whatever your best is, I mean, that's all you can do. You know, and baseball being in the spring, you know, you have that fall to just kind of feel out that senior year and whatever. But like she said, just do your best, put your best foot forward, and at the end of the day, that's all you do.
I think too, depends on your self-motivation. If you're, self-motivated, and that's something you wanna do, then that's great, but if you're not self-motivated, doing all that with sports and stuff.
The beauty of that dual enrollment for our girls was it gave them a little taste of college. It's different than high school, and it was still safe enough, like you're saying, hey, this is not part of that path, maybe God's got me called in a different way, or, you know, it kind of gives you a little taste of what the next big pond is gonna look like.
You know, it's gonna save you a lot of money.
Yeah,
You're looking at about several $100 versus several $1,000 for that class.
Spend time, lots of time in prayer and God's word. You're not gonna find what you're supposed to do on social media. I hate it, I hate to break that bad news, but this, you ain't gonna find it here. You're gonna find it here and on your knees. Anybody else got anything? We're gonna swing real quick and we got something to do. Everybody stand up.